Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week, the Texans will be hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars in a rematch from their Week 3 loss. And unfortunately, the Texans are going to have to do it without quarterback CJ Stroud, but I'll get into all that in just a few minutes. Right now, let me do a quick little game recap from Sunday's loss against the Denver Broncos. So, Texans lost to the Broncos 18-15 Sunday, last second field goal by the Broncos. And, just a couple things to really just kind of take away from this game. Um, Obviously, the CJ Stroud injury, it changed a lot for this Texans team. And, the injury itself, it was kind of, and when I'm talking about the injury, I mean the penalty that wasn't there. And I could go on and on for days about that, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's just weird that you know, for a lot of people that's watched football a long time, such as myself, you're bound to see certain plays, and you're like, okay, that's a flag. This is one of those instances where that should have been a flag. Regardless of how you feel about, quarterback sliding, if you want to compare it to, CJ's hit compared to Trevor Lawrence's hit last season, that happened in that whole situation. At the very least, it should have been a penalty. There was no way that the ref should have picked that flag up at all, and that's just not being biased. Like, I get everybody has their opinions about the level of toughness in the game today or whatever, but I mean the rules are the rules, and so if they're going to be there for one team, that should be there. They should be there for another team as well. So that's my thoughts on that particular play in that instance. Um, Unfortunately, that did result in putting CJ Stroud in concussion protocol, and it kind of took out the momentum of this Texans team. Stroud was cooking. He had a couple of big passing plays, especially one to Dalton Schultz, got us into the red zone. Unfortunately, we couldn't capitalize on that. But at the same time, it was still uh, big plays being had going down the field, and it was only right that it would get better should he remain in that game. That did not happen. Davis Mills had to come step in the second quarter, and for what it's worth, Davis Mills wasn't terrible in this game. I'll say that. I thought he came in against this defense, this elite Broncos defense, is going to be a wash, and it just wasn't the case for him. Came in threw for 137 yards, no touchdowns, but no picks either. Had a pretty clean game on that front. Only got sacked twice, so um, kudos to him for kind of holding things down and just really evening things out. The defense, of course, what game has haven't we come in here and bragged on the defense about? Um, this was a game that was, a defensive battle all the way up until the end, and even with that, the Broncos, coming into this game, they had games where they were scoring 40 points, 33 points, you know what I'm saying? Just a real high scoring effort from them. And they just made it out of this game with 18 points. They really played into the Texans, kind of physical style of play, if you will. And the defense just really kind of matched wits with the Texans defense really matched wits with this Broncos defense, and you could see them matching that energy all the way into the fourth quarter when both teams were trading three and outs. Like what kind? Like, come on, man, what kind of like who plays football like that anymore? You know what I'm saying? So um, crazy, crazy that a lot of there's still some fans out there that love to see defensive performances, and I'm pretty sure they were really pleased um, with how those two units performed uh, performed that well at that point of the game, and so it was good for the defense until it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? um, it was, oh my god, like, yeah, it was good for the defense until it wasn't. Obviously, we gave up big plays, um, to help them set up the field goal and everything like that, and it was just uh, it was just a heartbreaking performance. Hell, I'm just gonna throw in here. Uh, yeah, I think Will Anderson got like the only sack of the game, and Caleb Bullock, he got a key pick in this game as well. So just a real stout performance that just kind of went by the wayside. Um, my final takeaway from this game, it was just uh, it, it was one of those tough. It was a tough loss, and it's a tough loss in effect. They were already the better team. When we had CJ Stroud, and then it just kind of got amplified. When he exited the game, and the frustrating part about this is, you thinking that I'm thinking that, okay, Stroud's out. Mills is in. This just is. This just finna be an ugly game, and it turned out being the opposite. And that's where my frustration comes in. It was such a competitive game, that it looked like we were able to win, and we just couldn't win. So hopefully with a game plan, more preparation time for meals and everything, we should be able to have a better game plan set for the Jaguars going forward. So we'll see what happens. So that was my game recap. A couple quick notes before I get into the preview. Um, so Nick, I saw a tweet that somebody somebody was kind of I guess I saw a tweet or a video clip, and I guess they were asking D'Amico Ryans if Nick Haley was going to be the remain the play caller for this upcoming weekend, and I guess somebody was disgusted by it. And I mean, why would you change why would you change the play caller right now at this moment? Like, this is where you actually need them more than anything. And I know there's been a lot of displeasure with Nick Caley as an OC so far this year for a variety of reasons. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't think now, when your starting quarterback is out, I don't think now is the time that you make that change in play calling. Like, wait till Stroud gets back and, see what you can switch up there. But now's not the time to really do that. Also, the bigger news this week: Davis Mills named a starter for this weekend. So going to be real interesting to see like what they have in place for him. I have some ideas, obviously, what they have for him, but another interesting note about this is they named him the starter like Tuesday, like fairly early. Um, it was going to be known that Davis Mills was the starter while CJ Stroud is still in concussion protocol. So with concussion protocol, it's one of those things where I think, yeah, it's one of those things where like it kind of varies, I guess, and I guess they kind of look at, I guess it all depends on like the symptoms that's being exhibited by the player. So um, no telling if his symptoms just kind of lingering on a little bit more, or what's really the case. So um, we'll see what happens with that. Injuries, too damn many. Oh, I was trying to figure out like what game was I watching that all of these guys had ended up getting hurt. I mean, I even saw Jalen Petrie on the list. Like, what are you doing, man? What are we doing out here? Let me see if I can find it real quick. So yeah, it was Jalen Petrie. Apparently, he was in. Uh, he suffered a concussion, but also Ed Ingram, Titus Howard. So yeah, they still Howard and Ingram still kind of reeling from their injuries during the game. Kaimi Fairbairn, he's on the injury report. Harrison Bryant, Christian Harris, um, Christian Harris apparently dealing with a shin injury. Will Anderson, he was limited in practice for Thursday. Everybody else pretty much either limited or they good to go. So, or just have no status. But for a lot of people with DMPs, as far as Thursday, Fairbairn, Harris, Howard, Ingram, uh, Petrie, Bryant, obviously Stroud. Um, man, it's going to be looking rough around game time. So, hopefully, some of these DMPs turn into limited practice, full practice by the time even by the time Saturday rolls around at the very least. So hopefully these guys get a speedy recovery coming for them real soon. So with that being said, uh, I'm gonna go right into this game preview. Texans will be hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday at home. I believe it's the third straight home game that they got, or second straight home game, one of them. But yeah, they will be hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's going to be a rematch from Week 3, which the Texans lost 17-10. Once again, just like the Broncos game, it was another game uh, deep into the another close game, well into the fourth quarter, and the Texans just they just couldn't execute it, pull it together. CJ Stroud actually had 2 picks in that game. But our defense also had a couple picks in that game, including one of them by Jalen Petrie, which set up a score, I believe, from that particular matchup. But all in all, it was also the game right before our 2-game winning streak. So hopefully we still get some of that magic rubbed off on there from that. But we still got to go in and we still got to win this particular game right here. And so here's a few things that the Texans can do to really win this game. So first off, the big elephant in the room, Davis Mills is going to be starting. So we really have to figure out a way to use Davis Mills in the right manner. When he stepped into the game against the Broncos, looks like he had a comfortable pace going for him, a comfortable tempo. He was able to hit receivers like what I'm saying, no problem at all. Just kind of huddle, snap, throw. You know what I'm saying? Seemed like it was at a real good rhythmic pace. So they should definitely continue that for him. Make sure he's still in that groove. Another thing that they can do with Davis Mills is move him around the pocket a little bit. So with Mills, he's oh wow, good play. Uh, so with Davis Mills, a lot of when he was a starter, when he was our starter, when he was the Texan starter or whatever, they rarely use his quote unquote athleticism, and so I didn't see too much tape on him from Stanford. So anytime somebody would mention Davis Mills' athleticism, I looked at them like they were crazy because I've never seen it, but the few times that he has shown it, it's been pretty decent. For the most part, it's just been some, kind of getting out the pocket, scrambling. Uh, you know, I think he can be used on a couple of bootlegs. Um, I definitely think he can be used on a couple of rollouts as well. Uh, and so I definitely feel it would be beneficial if we got him to kind of scramble a little bit more and just move the pocket. With this against this Jaguars defense, they're kind of similar to the San Francisco 49ers defense. They're kind of, they can kind of accept they're a little bit better in pass rush. The only thing they kind of well, I guess what I'm trying to say is the only thing they share with the San Francisco defense is that they really don't get that much sack. They don't generate that much sacks. The difference between Jacksonville and San Francisco is they generate a little bit more pressure. They can get you on the hurries, the quarterback knockdowns, things like that. The quarterback pressures. But when it comes to getting actual sacks, they don't seem to really get to the quarterback as much. So I think that would be beneficial to have, Davis Mills kind of do some bootlegs, some rollout plays, something where the pocket is actually moving from, any oncoming pressure and things like that, and just kind of, keep, what I'm saying, just kind of, get the receivers in a little bit more open spaces and hit them to make some big plays. Um, Speaking of pressure, number two, we need to bring the pressure defensively. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, both great at the edge position. Definitely going to need them to like just kind of really bring it in. Uh, Danico Autry, I think he's been kind of on and off the injury list the entire year, so hopefully he's coming. Hopefully he's staying healthy for this week. Uh, Maybe block another field goal or so, but uh, him, Tim Settles, hopefully Sheldon Rankins, I think should be good to go. Um, Hopefully those guys are really bringing a wreaking havoc on that interior line, and just, saying, getting to the quarterback. They had last week, we forced two picks on them in the second, forced two picks on the Jaguars in the second half, and that's what kind of kept the game close. It's definitely going to be more turnovers needed. More turnovers are going to need to be forced in this game. So it's not just going to be, with the D line bringing the pressure. It's also going to be, with the secondary kind of, just really mixing the coverages up as much as they can. I believe that one pick that Jalen Petrie got in the fourth quarter of that game, it was, kind of like a little coverage disguise that they implemented. So would love to see that happen again, especially with it being a rival. You know what I'm saying? A division rival. They've seen just about everything we've thrown at them, but definitely going to need the secondary to kind of like just mix their coverages up a little bit, and what I'm saying, have keep things confusing for this Jaguars offense. Third and final thing, uh, Texas just have to fight and stay in this game. So this Broncos loss, tough loss. Uh, the Jaguars lost, tough loss. So the Broncos loss is a tougher loss because it's exceeding the expectations of actually like being in the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times you bring in a backup quarterback, you're like, there's no chance. You bring in a backup quarterback against a top defense, such as the Denver Broncos, then you're going to be like, okay, there's no way in hell that we got a chance. But at the same time, the Texans really just kind of held on and fought. And it wasn't just, fighting against that defense. It was, what I'm saying, it was the defense really going against one of the, you know, one of the better younger quarterbacks in this league right now. Bo Nix, he's really, what I'm saying, he's really an explosive signal caller, a young dual threat, as I mentioned last week. But so just to kind of keep him in check for as long as they could speaks volumes to this Texans defense. And it's just so they fought as long until they couldn't fight no more. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's where the offense is going to have to come in, and it's going to be asking a lot for this offense to kind of step up, considering we don't have our starting quarterback, but it still has to be done. You know what I'm saying? We still got to line up against these guys, and we still just have to give all that we got. So, if anything, fight to stay in this game and just fight to win this game, pretty much. So that's all I got for the game review. Number one, utilize Davis Mills in the right way. Give him a comfortable pace and tempo, and move the pocket with him if you can. Number two, bring the pressure with the D line, but also let the have the secondary help out and just kind of really confuse the coverages and everything. They got a new receiver this week in Jacoby Myers, and it's looking like, and it's sounding like Brian Thomas might not be there this week. So, yeah, just go ahead and get things disrupted this week defensively, as we've been doing all year from the defensive side of the football, and also just fight to stay in this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, defense, and not just with the defense, but offense too. You know what I'm saying? I know it's going to be a tall task to do that, without your starting quarterback, but Davis Mills, he's been here before. He started games for us before. Definitely played against the Jaguars in some battles before. So just fight to really stay this game and fight to win this game on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. So that's all I got for y'all this week. If you're watching this video on YouTube, like this video, share this video wherever you can, subscribe to my channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, facebook.com/BrandonBlog, like this video, share this video, like my page, and yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all this week. I'm Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.